Your mic's off.
Hello, guys.
There we
Thank you for that. Sorry for the technical delay there. My mic was muted. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tonight Show podcast for today. We're in October now, the 2nd of October, live on YouTube. Yes, a busy show tonight with news all across the world of not say motorsport, but motorsport in general, sport, politics, so much more. There is a lot to talk about from this whole raft of news. I'm joined by late past supporter Zach Jones around all the latest news. Hello, Zach.
Hello, Charlie. Hello, mate.
Well, we're going to start with a plank of the week this week. Goes to, and I have to say, this is a very recent news story tonight that I just want to
Easy
say.
decision.
It is to do with the horrendous attack at a synagogue today, which I want to talk about. So Keir Starmer's promised to do everything in his power to protect Jewish people. As he said, Britain must defeat anti-Semitic hate. The Prime Minister was speaking after two people were killed in a car and a stabbing attack at Heaton Park in Crumpsall, North Manchester on Thursday, condemning the vile individual who carried out the horrific attack on the holiest Jewish day of Yom Kippur. So Keir sent his condolences to the victims and their family. The attacker has been named as 35-year-old Al Shami, who was shot dead by police upon the scene. Can I just say that was the guy who gets my plank of the week? It's a horrendous attack. It only just happened today, by the way. As well, I think that in general, it's a story that we will be covering on the podcast tonight. Horrendous turn of events today. A special day for Jewish people all across the world, celebrating this very iconic event. Yom Kippur is a huge part of their calendar. But, oh, God. I think, in general, this is going to add more pressure. And, we had a stabbing last year in Southport, as well. It's horrible. I don't like this at all, There's lots of civil unrest, stabbings everywhere. My condolences of obviously all the people, the people that have lost loved ones, and it's just tragic, honestly. My second nomination of the week goes to David Lammy for a comment he made about Nigel Farage during the Labour Party conference. Can I confirm that was over, I believe, the immigration policy reform UK were putting out. Also, Starmer gets the nomination as well. As much as people will disagree to an extent with what you're saying about immigration, you do not link a word of being racist to Reform UK by any means. I'm not saying Reform UK are all perfect, by the way, because they have done bad things myself. But yes, there was a lot. I had a peer of a Labour Party peer had to go on GB News the other day to apologise. By the way, to apologise live directly to Nigel Farage, someone I believe in the House of Lords,
it was the Blue Labour lead, basically the former leader of Blue Labour.
One of them things, by the way, that you might have known. I forgot the guy's name. I think he sits in the House of Lords. I think it's Paul Riches. That's another one. But apparently, according to this was also, I think, to do with digital IDs as well. We had a lot of digital IDs debate as well. Please vote digital IDs down as well. By the way, a huge cross-party letter's been sent out for that. But yes, a bad week for Labour, particularly in the eyes of condemning, calling Reform UK. And it wasn't just that; it was the comments that I believe Lammy made as well. Further to that, where I think there's some comments about Hitler involved or something. I don't understand that. So they are my planks of the week this week. Zach, I'm going to give you what your planks of the week this week are.
Right. Well, my only one I was thinking of one, but today sort of cemented it, I'm afraid. It's the easiest plank of the week in the world at the moment. and that goes to the terrorist in Manchester today, who on this day, on this very solemn day, caused a horrific terrorist attack on our country. Jihad al-Sami, 35-year-old, he's a British citizen of Syrian descent, was the person identified as the individual that caused the horrific terrorist attack in Manchester today. To give you a little bit of background of what happened, he was driving earlier near a synagogue, and today is a religious Jewish holiday, I should mention as well. If you are wondering what today's holiday is, it's Yom Kippur. It normally begins. It begins on the Wednesday, and ends on the evening of today. It's the holiest day in Judaism. It occurs only on the 10th of Tishri, corresponding to a date in late September or early October, as well. It's a Jewish national holiday. Its pride centered on atonement and repentance. Their main observances consist of full fasting and ancestry, with accompanied by extended prayer service at a synod and singing confessions as well. So, it was Yom Kippur today, and this terrorist decided to target basically Jews at a synagogue who were praying and celebrating Yom Kippur today. And yeah, not only he targeted them in many ways, he targeted them via vehicle. He then stabbed a number of individuals, and then he tried to get inside the church building and tried to set off an explosive device which he had on his body. Now, unfortunately, 2 Jewish people have been killed in today's incident. There's a further 3 that are in critical condition at the moment. Now, we've only had the name of obviously we've only had the name of the individual within the last hour, but earlier on the counter-terrorism police confirmed that they are treating today's incident as a terrorism incident as well. And I think quite rightly as well, it is clear to me that this individual had a clear motivation to target Jewish people on the holiest Jewish holiday of the year. It is nothing more than an anti-Semitic, disgraceful, and pathetic, cowardly attack on the churchgoers of Manchester and the people and the Jewish people across the United Kingdom. This is a very sick individual. He was shot. He was declared deceased at the scene. Obviously, there are going to be further investigations on this. Now, from what I've read about this individual, and I've seen the updates so far, this person was not previously referred to the counter-terrorism prevent scheme, so he has no history of any previous incidents, really. But yeah, there's been lots of reaction today. The Prime Minister, as you mentioned as well, he was at the European Political Summit in Denmark, and he's had to come back from this because of the scale of the incident. He chaired a Cobra earlier today, and there's a number of people involved. And the counter-terror police in London were involved. People joining from remotely via Manchester as well. So he chaired a Cobra meeting today. And obviously, he was meant to be speaking to several countries about how to deal with illegal immigration. But obviously, that's had to be put on the back foot today because of this incident as well. And there's been widespread condemnation from everybody, from obviously the Prime Minister to Conservatives to Nigel Farage to Liberal Democrats as well. The Foreign Minister of Israel even got involved as well. But quite frankly, I don't know. I just think it was a bit of a political statement, to be fair. As well. Now, both Leader Opposition and the Prime Minister have visited a synagogue this evening, not in Manchester, but in London instead. Obviously, Keir Starmer's wife is Jewish and celebrates Jewish holidays, so it'd be quite apt to be going in there with her. But anyway, nevertheless, as well, I this is a really sad day for this nation that someone as really as scummy as this individual could cause a terrorist attack. We haven't had a terrorist attack in, I don't know, it goes back many, many years now since we've had a terrorist attack. I think it's like 7-8 years or something that we've had a terrorist attack in the United Kingdom. And yeah, it's obviously what makes it worse is this individual targeted on the day of the Jewish holiday. So he had a sick motive to kill Jews. And again, Jews, it's always the Jews that are the easy target in this country and across the world at the moment. It is disgusting. And these areas are supposed to be full of peace, love, and they get targeted just for being Jewish. It is a sick ideology. And I found it very uncomfortable this evening as well that there was pro-Palestinian protest still going ahead in London this evening, even after the attack. And I just think it was just crass and disgusting that even went ahead. There's just no sympathy whatever for Jewish people, and I feel so sorry for everybody in the community today. It's a sad, sad day that a twisted individual could do something like this, and not only cause harm to the community, but unfortunately we've had to see again now that the synagogues have extra security, which is obviously the right thing to do. It's unfortunate we've had to do that, and obviously now that it almost feels like you're living in America where you could be attacked at any time. So yeah, it's a really sad day today, my thoughts obviously are those who were murdered today by the individual, and my thoughts with their friends, their family, and my thoughts also just completely with the Jewish people who I have so much sympathy with today on days like this. They are the best of us. We just need to give them a hug, basically, and our arms of protection, as what should have been a day of celebrating their holiday today. Has been completely overshadowed by this incident where they should be said in Yom Kippur instead.
This is what the Prime Minister had to say today in number 10.
Earlier today, on Yom Kippur, the holiest day for the Jewish community, a vile individual committed a terrorist attack that attacked Jews because they are Jews, and attacked Britain because of our values. So many Jewish families first came to this country as a place of refuge, fleeing the greatest evil ever inflicted on a people. And Britain welcomed them. Communities like the one attacked in Manchester provided safety, but also the security that comes from a promise that this is a country that stands up to hatred, and that we don't just provide refuge, we provide a home. Today's horrific incident shows why. And while this is not a new hate, this is something Jews have always been, we must be clear. It is a hatred that is rising once again. And Britain must defeat it once again, up to every Jewish person in this country. I also want to say this. I know how much fear you will be holding inside of you. I really do. And so, on behalf of our country, I express my solidarity, but also my sadness that you still have to live with these fears. Nobody should have to do that. Nobody. And so I promise you that I will do everything in my power to guarantee you the security that you deserve.
Well, can I just confirm, okay, there has been some news through that I would like to share on this person. According to what I've been, 3 people remain in hospital with serious injuries. I could also confirm as well that I believe there was an incident that happened where someone avoided prison today. Can I just confirm to you what that was? That was another terrorist-related incident that happened today. And, you know, the record numbers of shoplifters have been jailed. According to this news, a migrant hotel stabs man with a smashed UK bottle as well. This is the person that I'm referring to. A Turkish asylum seeker who attempted to stab a man with a smashed bottle at a UK nightclub has avoided jail and deportation. Hallie Dow attacked Kasif Chaguti outside a nightclub in Bournemouth at around 5:30 a.m. last year. That is, Hallie Dow smashed a bottle on the wall before launching his attack. The 30-year-old slashed the victim outside the canal boom. The asylum seeker is being housed at a migrant hotel. According to this, Dow is currently being housed in one of 3 migrant hotels in Bournemouth, Dorset. A court heard he fled Turkey because he faced persecutions from his politics and was tortured by police and becoming an infamous. Dow's consul said he was suffering mental health issues before arriving in the UK. Zach, what do you make to this? Because I have to say, there is definitely evidence here of what some political leaders have been saying of two-tier justice.
Yeah, I feel obviously another awful incident as well. That's obviously happened. I mean, yeah, these incidents, I'm afraid, keep occurring more and more and more. It's unfortunate, and yeah, there's definitely that. Again, it's obviously not been on the news today, obviously because of recent events, but it's something to keep in mind out as well of you know how harmful this action is to the community and puts other people in danger as well. I think this really is an act of really bad action.
It's just bad. I can't understand how broken this country is with immigration, particularly being a big problem. And seeing events like this, it's just, and the stabbing today in a synagogue, it was in Manchester, is horrendous. This is appalling. Absolutely appalling. These people should not be in this country without the right of documentation. They are illegal immigrants. I'm sorry. You know, it's bad. You know, it's causing the public are getting very concerned. A lot of people have been to protests across the country the last few months. Obviously, Epping, some constituencies as well. I think we've had Robert Jenrick, Priti Patel. I don't know if we have Priti Patel, Suella Braverman. They've been out protesting. You know, it's the uprising has begun definitely across this country on illegal immigration. Let me know down in the comments what you have to make to that news as well. Zach, speaking of news, I'm going to head over across the pond now to America, where Donald Trump has apparently been gearing up this like board of advisors or board of people to lead the response to Gaza. One of the appointments, though, has been very, very questionable in the form of a former Prime Minister of the UK, Tony Blair.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in America at the moment. I'll explain 2 things what's going on at the moment. So let's get to the Gaza news. It feels like we're edging closer to some sort of deal in Gaza to stop the war again, which is brilliant news if that's the case. And one of the things is that Hamas really needs to get on side with this deal because it's a good deal and it's better than the previous ones that we've had as well. And I hope it's the case that they do, get on with this deal because I think it's really important for peace to preserve in Israel and Gaza. One of their ideas is to do this board of peace, and there'll be a few people running it. So Donald Trump lead it, but they'll include people on it as well, such as you mentioned, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Tony Blair. And I know it's triggered a lot of socialist lefties who are upset about this and absolutely triggered by it. And I have to say, it'll be interesting if he is as well. I have to say, I mean, he's not bad. I mean, yeah, he's responsible for some of the stuff in Iraq as well. But if he wants to join this overseeing body, a board of peace with temporary supervising Gaza's governments as well, It's part of a 20-point plan in Israel's nearly 2-year conflict as well. And yeah, but I have to say, I'm finding this fascinating. Tony Blair is part of a governance team in charge of somewhere. Oh, things could only get better, as they say. But yeah, no, I don't think it's a bad shout. I think Blair has definitely done his bit to try and work some peace offerings in the last few years, and I don't think it'd be a bad shout for him to get involved in this one as well. I think it's a good idea. So that's one bit of news from that's happened in US politics. Well, the other news is sort of less good news for Donald Trump. The federal government is shut down. There's a government shutdown in America at the moment, and we're into day 2, I think we are now, of government shutdown. The Congress has failed to agree a funding package that would keep the government open. Now, what this is that the difference is there's currently a difference between Republicans and Democrats on health, on Obamacare subsidies that are meant to expire. And yeah, they've not reached an agreement. The Republicans have voted down suggestions from Democrats. Democrats have not gone and voted down the Republican suggestions. So now we are middle of a government shutdown. So if I'll give you an explanation of what a government shutdown is, it's where certain services shut down. So national parks, for example, museums, I think, is one area as well. And yeah, it affects a lot of people. Affects a lot of public sector workers as well. So, and it also affects it affects military families as well. It means that not all. It's some of the most of the services, around 40% of the federal workforce, are expected to be put on unpaid leave. So that's 40%. That's quite a lot. 750,000 people in the federal government being put on unpaid leave is quite something. Yeah, it's a mad thing. It happens every single. This is a battle that happens every single year. So some things like essential, such as border protection, law enforcement staff, immigration and customs enforcement, agents in hospital, Medicare, and air traffic control workers are expected to operate as usual. Social Security Medicare checks will be sent out, although benefit vocation and the card insurance may stop. Government employees deemed unessential will temporarily put on unpaid leave. Contractors who work for federal agencies who are not directly employed by the government will miss out work as well. Services like the Food Assistance Program and federal funding preschool institutes like the Smithsonian Museum will likely be reduced or closed. Services like the CDC and the NHS are expected to furlough many workers, affecting ongoing research projects. National parks and forests remain open during the last shutdown, but they expect to be shut down as well. There also could be travel delays as flights might need to slow down, reducing efficiency. So yeah, this is a big deal. It affects quite a lot of services. A lot of workers get unpaid, and the government, Donald Trump, is trying to go further now and use this shutdown to lay off a lot of people and stop funding for several projects. I think doing some things. Some projects in New York have been cut because of the shutdown as well. So this has lots of implications as well. The Democrat. So in terms of who's blaming who, it's typical. The Republicans are blaming the Democrats, despite the fact that Republicans control 3 things of the House. In the Senate, you need 60 votes to pass an act, basically a budget act overall. That you need a majority in the House of Representatives, which they may do, but they don't have the numbers in the Senate at the end of the day. You need 60 votes for continuing resolutions, and they fail to do that. And the government is in the second day of shutdown at the moment.
It's not locked down, by the way. So just to confirm,
it's shut down.
I think this happened. It's happened in America before, hasn't it? I think it happened quite a few years ago.
2018 was the last government shutdown, I believe. So about 7 years ago was the last government shutdown. There's been obviously funny enough, under Democrats. I think there was a period where the government was shut down for. I think it was Joe Biden's government. It was shut down for about 12 hours, but that was about it. And they managed to pass it to his desk. But apart from that, there's been the last major government shutdown was Donald Trump, and I think that lasted over a month as well. So it's not happened in the not commonly happened in the Biden era. And yeah, it did happen. I think it did happen once in the Obama era, but it's now happened 2-3 times under the Trump administration now.
Well, that's the news on the government shutdown. Let me know in the comments below. I've got a comment actually in. Moist and Yeasty says my finger stings. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That's
the common information that we really need to know about. It seems.
There was a comment there that I was a bit like, what was I trying to? What was it all? What was it worth? Was it worth me reading it out?
Yeah, just for the laugh of it, I suppose.
Yeah, trust me, I've had to read comments out on live streams I've done on social media, so it's not normal for that. But anyway, guys, comment down below, guys, what you make of that, because it's certainly very, very interesting indeed. This whole scenario around the shutdowns in America and across obviously the UK as well, with a huge terrorist incident that happened today as well. My thoughts again of all those people who've been affected. Moving on now to the sports news, and we've got quite a bit of sports news to talk about today. We're going to start off with the football, Premier League and European football action this week. So obviously we had the Premier League last weekend as well. I'll come on to the Champions League and the Europa League very shortly. So Champions League, Champions League, Premier League start with. This was the last games for September, match day 6. Brentford beat Manchester United 3-1. Ruben Amorim is certainly going to be facing, well, a lot of pressure from United fans and the board after that dismal result. Bournemouth and Leeds was a Desmond, a 2-2. Brighton beat Chelsea 3-1, despite Chelsea having a red card. Wow. Let me talk about that one coming. Manchester City were 5-1 winners against Burnley. Crystal Palace got a late goal to beat league leaders Liverpool. The gap between Arsenal and Liverpool is now less than 3 points. I believe it's 2. After the Gunners beat Newcastle 2-1 in a close encounter at St James's Park. Then we had Nottingham Forest, who lost against Sunderland 1-0. And sadly, Ange is without a win so far in his tenure at Forest. Tottenham and Wolves. Tottenham coming from behind to draw that one. As well, Aston Villa finally get a win. A long one coming after beating Fulham 3-1, and Everton and West Ham was a 1-1 draw. And then matches this weekend. Actually sees a Friday night football tomorrow with Bournemouth Fulham. Leeds and Tottenham will be the early kickoff on Saturday at 12:30, and then 3 o'clock. We've only got 2 3 o'clock matches with Man United, Sunderland. Arsenal play West Ham as well on Saturday at 3. Then we've got Chelsea, Liverpool at 5:30. Sorry, not 2:30, 5:30. That's the Friday night football match there. And then we have a bumper Sunday coming up for you. In total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches.
5 games on the Sunday.
5 games on the Sunday. So Super Sunday, which includes 4 2 o'clock kickoffs. Everton, Crystal Palace. Newcastle Forest, Wolves versus Brighton, Aston Villa versus Burnley, Brentford versus Manchester City will be the 4:30 kickoff on Sunday. Not really a big 6 kind of weekend. It's kind of lower teams playing. Obviously, Arsenal West Ham will be a interest because having said that though, Chelsea versus Liverpool will be the main big 6 clash of the weekend, I suppose. That is a big match as well for that half of the table. As well, we also had action in the Champions League as well, and I think Europa League tonight as well. We had some teams in action, which I'm sure Zach will be able to cover all that for me right now.
Yes, brilliant job going to the weekend games there. We got action Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 5 games you mentioned on Super Sunday as well. including 4 2 o'clock games. I think it's so these are mostly the rearranged games involving the sides in Europe and a few other teams as well, if you're wondering as well. But yeah, 5 games on Super Sunday, 4 to watch simultaneously at 2 o'clock if you want as well. Big weekend. And actually, last weekend was pretty significant because for the first time this season, for the Premier League season, Liverpool were defeated. And guess who is the only undefeated side this season? Yep, that I'm not kidding you. The only undefeated side this season is currently Crystal Palace, who's the team that beat Liverpool this last weekend. That is an astonishing achievement. Oliver Glasner, take a bow, because I mean he is doing wonders at that club at the moment. I mean, even with Europe going on, we won the FA Cup, but even with Europe going on as well, they're just doing a fantastic job, man. He's just doing a great job managing that side. And I know he was a bit, his first part of, when he first took on the job, it was a bit of a choppy ride at times, but he's done so well to steady the ship and just get results after results. It's just been an incredible period for Crystal Palace. It really has been as well. Last week, the 2-1 result as well. We've gone over the games this weekend. I mean, obviously, the big game this weekend is Chelsea v Liverpool. Chelsea have lost the last, if I'm correct in saying, the last 3 now out of the 4 matches. So this is a bit, and obviously Liverpool isn't going to be easy, but Liverpool have now lost the last 2. We'll come on to that in a minute now, because let's go to the Champions League results this week as well. And we're going to focus on the British clubs as always. I'm going to focus on the British clubs as always, the English sides as always. Some results to point out: Real Madrid with a 5-0 win over Kairat as well. Chelsea won against Benfica despite a red card late on by Joe Pedro it was really a second red for City foul as well. Liverpool lost against Turkish guy Galatasaray in Turkey.
Galatasaray,
Galatasaray, that was 1-0 over that. That was because they conceded a penalty as well, with Victor Osimhen scoring that one in quite decent fashion. Anyway, Bodo Glimt and Tottenham was a rematch of a Europa League semi-final, I believe, last year. That resulted in a 2-2 draw against them. Tottenham were 2-0 down at one point as well. They managed to get back into it towards the late stages. A really important result for them as well. Newcastle, great result for them. Fantastic game for them yesterday. A 4-0 win against Belgian side Union Saint-Gilloise as well. Away, good. Really, they played really well. The big really surprising result out of this yesterday was Monaco holding Manchester City to a draw. I mean, Erling Haaland scored 2 goals, and then they just at times really didn't get. They managed to get some crucial moments to score 2 goals. And I have to say as well, there was a stunner in the first one by the Monaco as well. It really was. The other results I want to keep an eye on, obviously Arsenal won 2-0 against Olympiacos. It wasn't the best performance, but again, 2 goals, they scored 2, so it's pretty much enough as well. And in Barcelona and PSG, the other one was PSG 2, Barcelona 1. I mean, that was an eventful match yesterday as well. And so that was fun there. Let me go on to the Europa League and Europa Conference League. Let's start with the Europa League first of all, because there have been some fairly mixed results today. It's not good news for the Scottish sides, I have to say, as well. Rangers lost again. Russell Martin, I don't know why he hasn't been fired at this rate, because his form's been absolutely abysmal. Lost to Scrumgrass 2-1 today. Better news for Aston Villa, though. Won 2-0 against Fernwood, who have been, I think, done really well this season so far. Aston Villa winning 2-0 against them away. A very decent result, and again as well. And they played, and finally Villa may be starting to get back into this, I feel. It was a good result, a good play as well. Less said for Nottingham Forest, though. Again, conceded defeat to Midtjylland I can't pronounce that. That's a really parliamentary game at home. It's the first home game of the season. A draw and a loss, not exactly the perfect start for Nottingham Forest on that return home. Celtic also as well lost against Braga 2-0. I mean, again, a disappointing match. Again, for them as well. Just really poor overall. Not a great night for the Scottish side. And I'm just going to go to the Conference League, where a number of sides have been playing, including some English, Scottish, and Irish clubs. Let's start off first of all with let's say Crystal Palace. In the earlier game, very good result for them as well. 2-0 again. They got red. Unfortunately, they did concede a red card though. So with a silly second yellow in the 73rd minute, a really bizarre yellow. Second yellow to concede, but overall played really well. 2-0 away, good start for them. Let's go to Shamrock Rovers now, the Irish side. They lost 4-1 against Sparta Prague in their match as well. Aberdeen, I'm afraid, conceded defeat to Shakhtar Donetsk as well. An unfortunate loss for them as well, 3-2 down as well. And Shelbourne, the other Irish side, held to a draw against Hacken as well. So that is the European results there as well. I should point out after this weekend Premier League football, we are on international break, but I'm going to talk a bit more about that next week when we do it.
Yeah. The next the international break obviously is coming up, which will be very obviously. And a lot of people don't like the international break and worry the players are going to get injured. So that certainly you don't want your players injured if you're on international break. Definitely. Moving on now to the Formula One. Now, this next race takes place in a hot and humid Singapore for the Singapore Grand Prix on Sunday. Where sadly, I probably won't be watching it because I am actually going to be at Brands Hatch watching the British touring cars on Sunday after work. So I will be down, probably keeping an eye on it on the socials, checking in now and again. So yes, it's going to be an interesting weekend. Now, McLaren are obviously looking like they're going to be stronger, given that this is a circuit that does not seem to favour Max Verstappen. However, though, be warned, we know Max Verstappen can pull up some pretty surprising tricks, because the other weekend he won a GT race at the Nürburgring quite dominantly, actually. I think it was his first ever GT3 race it might have been his first proper GT3 endurance race. He teamed up with his sim racing driver and won. I think they won quite comfortably, actually. I can tell you what, okay, I know people might slam Max Verstappen. They say, oh, he's a dirty driver, all that kind of stuff. I think he gets a lot of unfair hate. And I think, at times I've questioned his antics on track. But I think behind the wheel, he is a master. He is a 4-time world champion for what we know for. That guy can drive, and he can drive brilliantly when he puts that car in exactly the right spot. So, he's been smashing it as well, certainly on the track. And, also as well he's got potential to do Le Mans, I think. Definitely Le Mans, maybe Indy 500. As well, he's won the Monaco Grand Prix, so he's only got 2 more to get now for the Triple Crown. But, it's going to be interesting as well. Obviously, we've got the F1 this weekend as well. Lots of questions around RBC. There's been questions around Arvid Lindblad going to that squad. Rumours that one of the RB drivers could be on their way out. There's also potentially a lot of news as well about Christian Horner, where he could be going in 2026. Rumours are saying Haas. Some people are saying Alpine. Aston Martin clear. Not sure what the direction is for 2026. So it's all getting a bit spicy in the world of Formula One, Zach, in the press right now ahead of the Singapore Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's been obviously Singapore this weekend. It's by the way, the FIA have obviously declared a heat hazard for this race, given the fact it's going to be incredibly hot. for the weekend as well. So obviously that means there's going to be extra cooling equipment installed in the cars. So the cars will be slightly heavier this weekend as well. But it's a necessary measure, I think, as well. Obviously, Singapore street circuit, probably one of the longest races on the calendar as well. It's very hot and humid, and it's a high downforce circuit because there's a lot of corners as well. It probably, I mean, Red Bull have improved their car, but it may not be as suited as such for this circuit as previous before. So again, the type of implications are that again, McLaren just needs to finish on the podium at least. Or finished ahead of Mercedes to win the Constructors' Championship this weekend as well. Again, I think they can do it this weekend as long as none of the drivers cock up or they don't have any poor pit stops like they did last time as well. There's a lot of stuff that's happened over the last week as well. I should mention a couple of things as well. One involving Alex Dunn. Now, he's parting way with McLaren. His contract with McLaren has ended. As part of their program of drivers. Now that suggests to me he's exiting the driver development program. So it suggests to me that obviously that McLaren don't have room for him at the moment and he's not going to get any future opportunities there as well. The other thing that suggests to me is that there are rumours going around that he may have met Helmut Marko, Alex Dunn. So it suggests to me that he may get involved with Red Bull's program at some point. Now, does that mean a race seat somewhere? Will he stay in F2? Will he end up eventually on Red Bull's junior driver program potentially as well? Is another thing to see. But yeah, big development there. The other development this week, and I have to say it's a very sad development as well.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton's dog Roscoe.
Yeah, very sad development this week. Roscoe Hamilton, the much loved dog of the paddock, and just has sadly passed away this week. He was back in a coma. His heart stopped, I'm afraid, and unfortunately, he could not survive from it, and he had to be put down. I mean, Roscoe Hamilton, the most loveliest dog and the most famous dog of the paddock, going is such tragic news, and obviously, it's very personal to Lewis Hamilton as well because it's deep down the heart. He's such obviously it's a source of protection and love for him as well. So it is a big loss. For Lewis Hamilton, he is racing this weekend, by the way. Obviously, he's thanked everyone for the support as well. But it was just really sad to see that what a wonderful dog Roscoe is, and sad to see his death this week. Really heartbreaking to see.
Yeah, it's a tragic loss, and I only saw this the other day, and it's just horrible. He was in hospital, and big shame, but my thoughts are obviously go out right now to Lewis Hamilton's dog Roscoe. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton as well. Lewis Hamilton racing this weekend, looking to bounce back some form after a difficult year with Ferrari. Still podiumless. Bloody hell, Carlos Sainz scores a podium in a Williams before Lewis Hamilton does in a Ferrari. Who's been talking about that all season? But yeah, no, honestly, whatever you make to Lewis Hamilton, you got to understand that his dog Roscoe, I think it was a bulldog. From what I saw, it was such an iconic part of the paddock. I remember when he came out at Silverstone quite a few years ago, and then all the cameras would pick him up, and he'd come out of his little dog hut, and on the F1 TV. Oh, it was amazing. As well. By the way, Luffield Grandstand's up to 160 now. Just to let you know, when I checked on the website today, you're booking tickets for the British Grand Prix, which is still available to book right now for next year. It's early July meeting, so yes, very interesting to say the least as well. But yeah, just such a shame to lose Roscoe. It's a very, very sad development and very upsetting in the F1 paddock at the moment. Moving on now to the NASCAR Cup Series action, which took place last weekend. I think it was is it Kansas or somewhere it took place? I think we had a Cup Series playoff meeting. By the way, it's the first win for a while for Hendrick Motorsports in the Cup Series as well. And let's have a look where it was. It was at Kansas, yes. Chase Elliott winning an absolute frantic finish in the Cup Series race. I watched the highlights of this race, and the ending was nuts. How did he win that race from being nowhere? There was drafted like 3 or 4 wide at one point. But yeah, no, Elliott got through, claimed the win. Crucial as well for his progression into the final 8 drivers. Hamlin finished second. Denny Hamlin finished second. Christopher Bell third. Chase Briscoe fourth. Bubba Wallace fifth. Kyle Larson sixth. Tyler Reddick seventh. Brad Keselowski eighth. William Byron ninth. And Shane Van Gisbergen gets his best finish on an oval in 10th position. The former Australian V8 Supercars champion there in the top 10. However, though the race was overshadowed for a pretty nasty accident for a certain Zane Smith, who sadly had a massive accident. I believe he was I think it was his full Mustang or something. He made contact with John Hunter Nemechek in that race, from what I understand. Zane Smith's car basically glided across the side, almost like a half pipe on the side of the barrier, and then somersaulted into the air, barrel rolled upside down, landed on its front. Thankfully, from what I understand, he looked like he got out of that unscathed. It just goes to show you again the safety of motorsport. But in general, though, these Gen 7 NASCARs, we've seen it. These newer generation NASCARs that were introduced, I think, a couple of years ago, have been prone to flipping a lot more than the old ones. It is a concern. We've seen some big crashes with these newer generation NASCARs. I think we saw, was it Matt DiBenedetto, someone flip over in one of these a couple of years ago. You know, we've seen some big accidents in the Cup Series recently. Daytona, you know, we had one at Kansas last week. It's not nice to see that at all. Zach, what was your assessment on the last race at Kansas and what this means for the playoffs now going forward?
Oh, that was a bit wild, wasn't it? The finishing as well. Zane Smith, I watched Zane Smith action, by the way, first of all. It wasn't that awful, by the way, for what it was worth. I mean, yeah, he did flip. But it was a bit weird to see him ride the wall. I mean, it looked like he got squeezed. And because he got squeezed, it obviously hit the car and it obviously turned it up sideways. So it was really a bit of a bizarre incident for what it's worth. But yeah, he was all right, thankfully, as well. But yeah, that finish was wild. I mean, completely and utter wild. I mean, where was Chase Elliott on the final lap? I mean, wasn't he like fifth or something? When he was on the final lap or behind him? Yeah, he was. I mean, goodness me. That was wild. And obviously, I think the implications of, Christopher Bell's and Denny Hamlin's action was because they pushed each other up so much. They allowed Elliott to squeeze through the middle and just allowed him to just come through the middle and win it. And I mean, yeah, it was just so much action, by the way. A stunning result as well. Hamlin was the one in second. Christopher Bell was the one in third. And then behind it, you had the chaos of Briscoe. Bubba Wallace, great job in fifth position, by the way. Kyle Larson sixth, Tyler Reddick sixth, Brad Keselowski eighth, William Byron ninth, and Shane Van Gisbergen for an oval. He's not always brilliant oval, but for an oval, he did really well. 10th position, I have to say, fair credit to him on that one as well. And what that means is we are now going into the final race of the round of 12. And after this Charlotte race, there are going to be 4 more gone. We now know that Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney are the 2 drivers that are definitely going through. The ones that are at the cutoff point at the moment are Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, and Austin Cindric. I think it's like that unless Cindric wins, he's going to get cut off as well. He's going to be out of the playoffs. The ones to look out for, Joey Logano, again, on the cutoff points as well. If someone like Ross Chastain wins, he's out, potentially, if he doesn't get a good result. Christopher Bell, you'd think the likes of Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, and potentially William Byron, you think would be quite safe as well. But again, 8 will be left after this, and we go to the pressure test in Charlotte, but the road course, so aka the Charlotte Roval, a road course and the oval combined. That will be definitely a lot of fun. A lot of maniac things are going to be happening in that event. Let me tell you that for certain. A lot of things are going to be happening for sure in that one as well. And anything could happen on a road course. It can be tight, it can be chaotic. There will be fun restarts. And yeah, this will be a race to watch most certainly as well.
And as well as that, they can race in the rain because it is a road course, by the way.
Yeah.
To confirm, it's not on the speedway. Where it is on the speedway, there's elements of speedway. It's not on the full oval. It is on the infield section, which I think could potentially favour Shane Van Gisbergen, because we know in V8 Supercars, we've seen on the road courses this season that he's been able to unlock potential in that Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet. So, be very interesting to see how he gets on. That's all the latest there from NASCAR. I'm going to do one bonus motorsport thing today, and that is the World Endurance Championship, which took place in Fuji the weekend. There was a huge breakthrough in this race. I believe it was one of the first wins for two French marques, if I'm correct. Alpine claiming, in the 100th race, I think it was the WEC 100, I think it was, the 100th WEC race. It was a win for Alpine. Can I just say, that race was full of chaos. So much happened, when I watched the highlights. But in the end, it was a great win, Zach, for Alpine in that one. And a 1-2, I believe, as well, for all French marques.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw it was quite a fun race for what it was as well. But Porsche also, Alpine was the one that came out and taught a maiden victory as well. Really fantastic result for them as well in that one as well. And it's just a great job as well from all the team. Congratulations to the 35 crew of Ferdinand Hasberg, Paul Lanchamp, and Charles Misi as well. Brilliant job overall to Kay in the victory. Porsche are still in the battle to keep their childhood hopes alive as well. They managed to get wrapped up there in third and fourth as well. That's a really important result as well. And yeah, just a great race. What a great way to celebrate 100 races in the WEC.
I mean, a second place went the way of the number 93 Peugeot as well. And then we had Porsche third and fourth. And the fifth was the Aston Martin number 9 Valkyrie entry. I just feel the Valkyries look so fast on the straights. But Adrian Newey designed that car to go monstrously fast in a straight line. That Aston Martin Valkyrie. I mean, I'm not going to lie, the Valkyrie, when I saw it in development, I thought, goodness me, there was certainly some racing hardware on that car. And it was flying around. But yeah, they said they finished fifth. I was expecting the Valkyries to be contenders for that one with the straight line speed of Fuji. By the way, Fuji used to host F1 years ago. Question: does anyone know the last F1 race at Fuji? 2008. Yep, 2008 was the last time F1 raced at Fuji Speedway. That is a very interesting fact there. Fun fact for you on that one. The final race for the World Endurance Championship goes to, I believe, Bahrain in November. So, yes, the final race for the World Endurance Championship will be at Bahrain, 8th of November for the season finale of the World Endurance Championship. Should we cover this a bit more? Let me know in the comments, because I feel like great series to watch. I hope it comes back to Silverstone, because I'd go watch it. So, yeah, very interesting race for sure. Now it's time for the musical interlude this week. Now, this one for a musical interlude this week, I'm going to play for you a song that I think you'll all like this week. This song is going to be from an artist I think you may have heard of, you may have not of. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are playing for you this record that I think will really lighten up your spirits. So, from the 1980s this week, I am going to go for one that I think you all going to enjoy a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a song titled Kids in America by Kim Wilde. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Looking out a dirty old window, down below the clouds in the city go rushing by. I see honey, that's better. Got to get a brand new experience, feeling right. Oh, don't try to stop, baby, hold me tight. Outside a new day is born. Outside suburbia is falling everywhere. I don't want to go, baby. New York to East California. There's a new one coming, I warn ya. When the kids in America. When the kids in America. Everybody listen to the music,
Kids in America there by Kim Wilde. What a classic 80s tune. Zach, what was your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I haven't heard that one for a while, so it's been nice to hear about that one. Yeah, it was I've heard variations of that, but that remains the one that I recognise the most.
Yeah, classic 80s song. For something a bit different this week. I know a lot of people like the 80s, so certainly one to throw on there as well for a fact. Now it's time for Conversation Street this week. This week on Conversation Street, we're going to be talking all about farming. Now, I want to talk to you about a farmer, but also quite an influential person who has been on our TV screens and recently won an award. Yes, you might know who I'm talking about this week. I present to you Harriet Cowan of Clarkson's Farm, but also a social media star. Now, Harriet, if you're watching the show tonight, if you are, and you're probably out in your farm or you're at work, this is for you. I thought, it's important to share about national stories, about celebrities and stuff. Harriet is not much older than me, but trust me, she is inspiring so many people to get into the farming industry. I feel like, this is an industry that has got so much growth over the last year. Particularly, obviously, we've had the recent farming, tractor tax farming issues, the political side of things as well with that. But in general, Clarkson's Farm obviously won an NTA the other week. And it was a massive, massive moment for them. Jeremy Clarkson obviously winning an award, not presenting Top Gear and the Grand Tour. It's a huge achievement for him. And Harriet was obviously on the last series. Now, to anyone who doesn't know Harriet Cowan, obviously she is a huge part of the Clarkson's Farm movement. She's a breakout star from last season on the show. Obviously, she was a big part of the show. She was hired by Charlie, who worked on the farm. She helped on the show. She's also a registered nurse as well. She also does. She's also a nurse and a farmer from Derbyshire. She replaced fan favourite Caleb Cooper on the show while he was away on tour. Now Cowan has left nursing to pursue a full-time career in agriculture, launching a YouTube channel called Harriet on the Farm. She's also an advocate for mental health and increasing the recognition of women in the farming industry. Her background, she's a registered nurse. She was head of helping Diddley Squat Farm Shop during season 4 of Clarkson's Farm, also as a television debut. Career change. After developing a passion for farming, she quit her nursing job in August 2025 to focus on content creation agriculture. She's also launched, as I said, Harriet on the Farm YouTube channel to share farming experience. She's also a strong supporter of recognising contributions for women farming for mental health. She's gained significant following on social media platforms such as Instagram and TikTok. She's also appeared on a Drive Tribe video with Richard Hammond's daughter Izzy, highlighting why we need to see more women in agriculture as well. She also spoke about her time growing up with Land Rovers. you might know, in all fairness, that I've got from which he's actually muted for the minute there. But yeah, obviously it's a big thing. You know, she is obviously a big part of the show. And obviously I'll get Zach's thoughts on it in a minute very shortly. But I just want to say, you know, to Harriet, to anyone who is a huge fan of the show, you know, enjoy it, you know. And I think, you know, she's a big part of that show. Clarkson's Farm, definitely. What she's doing to push more women to get into farming and setting up these campaigns and stuff. Zach, I'm going to ask you this. Obviously, Harriet Cowan made a big name for herself when she appeared on Clarkson's Farm, just the other series. You know, and obviously very young of age. Do you think she's inspiring a lot more women to get into farming?
Definitely, and I think we need people like her. I mean, you know, farming is not just a male thing. Most things are not just a male thing these days. I mean, it's for everyone's sake. It's, you know, you don't exclusively. I mean, many men have been growing up to do farming because they're the ones probably responsible because they're probably more comfortable. Let's just say you could say sometimes that, you know, the impression is that, or the sort of known thing about it is, you could argue that men are obviously more comfortable, you know, on the farm, but with animals and stuff as well, and then they know the thing. But no, she does her job really, really well, and she's the exact sort of personality that is needed on a farm, no matter what. And yeah, she's very clever. She's very intelligent. She knows her farming, and she provides a huge contribution to Clarkson Farm, and that's the main thing about it.
I think she's amazing. Honestly, if you watch Clarkson's Farm, you know, I think she's only, according to this, she's only 24 years old. That's nuts. Like, she's so young, and, you know, she's got this massive passion about farming. And do you know what? I'm happy for her, because I'm gonna say this out of personal experience. Okay. Back when I was in year 10 at school, I done what was called animal husbandry at Riddle College, and I've done it once, okay, and I understand how Jeremy Clarkson probably has to get involved with this, and Harriet probably herself. I went inside, okay, this is a true story, by the way. I had to go inside. One of the things we had to do when we were at school at the time, we had to go inside with some pigs. There was pigs, by the way, like having babies. And we used to mop up the pig piss. Sorry for swearing, but pig poo. We had to do that at Riddle College, and we were kind of working on the farm. Like, we actually had to, like, lay the hay down. We had to, like, mop the hay up, and, you know, give them the food, and, you know, doing all that. And I was like, hold on a minute. I've seen Clarkson's Farm, and I've seen Jeremy feed these pigs. So I'm kind of like, hold on a minute. Was that the inspiration behind Clarkson's Farm becoming a TV show? Well, according to what I experienced at Riddle College, it certainly was one of those experiences for a fact.
And yeah, I just think he's. I mean, there's a wild story what you've mentioned there, but I wouldn't want to imagine doing some of the stuff you did. I could not personally be a farmer in my view. I mean, me touching cow poo and all that sort of thing I'd run away. I couldn't bear the thought of it. Right. So yeah, it's not my cup of tea, farming, but I think there's a lot of people. It's a sort of income, and just daily occurrence for them.
I think. Look, I mean, I didn't like it when I done it, but after watching Clarkson's Farm, like, I mean, you can tell why that show is so highly rated, because it highlights something that, in the national interest right now, is one of the most important issues in the country. You know, farming is a big part of how we grow our crops, how we, make our beer, how we make wheat and barley, how we make beer, how we make cider, how we make, tea and coffee even. All that kind of stuff. It's such a important part of society, I feel. Our farms, we need our farms for like wind and solar energy as well, I think. Another thing. Wind farms, solar farms, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like that also creates a greater impact for society as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always important to note the contribution farming gives for the UK industry and as well, and what we do to get our food and everything like that as well, and our homegrown stuff as well. It's just really important overall.
Definitely. I think it's a massive industry, and obviously, guys, I'm very obviously happy for Jeremy the other week, and I think Clarkson's Farm, there is also potentially season 5's in the works now, so that show is gaining traction on Amazon. It's one of Amazon's best shows. I think you definitely have to watch it because trust me, it is full of chaos, as there is always with Jeremy Clarkson on the show. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Obviously, as well, if you are interested in more shows with ex-Top Gear presenters, Richard Hammond's Workshop will be back next Monday on Discovery Plus. If any of you guys are obviously motoring fans like myself, that show will also be on as well. And also, Zach, last weekend, before we finish, Strictly Come Dancing finally kicked off.
Yeah, we saw all the contestants and couples as well this week as well do their first performances. Obviously, no one went home that weekend as well. But this weekend there will be. There was a late replacement though. You may have seen Danny Dyer did pull out and was replaced by Amber Davis, previously Love and Fawn. So obviously not much time prep for her, but she did it. And obviously Nikita is obviously there as well. He's a very experienced pro to be doing it alongside her as well, so he will know his thing as well alongside her.
Of course, the show continues this weekend, and they'll be eliminating a couple during Sunday night's result show. So I'll definitely be watching it this weekend. I'm mainly watching it because Thomas Skinner's in it. But anyway, there's not just Thomas Skinner, but you got so many celebs in it, and I'm sure it will be a great show. Anyway, so that is it for the Tonight Show podcast. And Zach, in terms of the big news over the next week, there's certainly a lot from here and across the pond.
Yeah, the government shutdown continues over in America. Will they get something done? Will be one thing to see as well. It's Conservative Party conference this weekend as well, beginning I think on the Sunday and through to Wednesday with Kemi Dagenot's first conference as party leader. We expect an announcement on the European Convention of Human Rights, and then we expect his announcement they're going to depart from it. Is expected over as well. What other policies they'll come up with, I'm not sure as well. But yeah, Conservative Party conference as well is one to keep an eye out for this weekend.
Thank you for watching, guys. I hope it's been a great show, and we'll see you again next time for another edition show. From me and Zach, that's all. Take care, everyone, and have a great rest of the night. Goodbye.